evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you to the Riverside Art Center and to Building Blocks for Local Food Entrepreneurs, workshop number 3, Selling Products to Major Retailers. I am Mary Ann Nielsen Nisley, and I represent Whole Foods Market on Washtenaw Ave in Ann Arbor as our Marketing and Community Relations Specialist. I am also an Ann Arbor native. I started working in my family's business, Nielsen's Flowers and Greenhouses, at age 9. As an adult, I ventured away from the area for 10 years, but like so many, I returned. I have started businesses in Monroe, Connecticut, as well as Saratoga Springs, New York, and an art business with my husband here in the Michigan, Ann Arbor area. I found my corporate home with Whole Foods Market in the year 2000. I identify strongly with the dreams and needs of local food entrepreneurs. I help pull together this collaboration between Think Local First, Whole Foods Market, and Growing Hope, which made our Building Blocks workshops a reality. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker of the evening, who is Ben Hery. Ben is the Associate Store Team Leader at our Detroit store, which opened in June. We're very, very excited about the store, and we're really happy to have Ben here. He started with his Whole Foods Market career in 1995 as a bakery team member, and then worked his way into the specialty team and became the specialty team leader. He became an associate store team leader at the West Bloomfield store and then opened Detroit in 2013. Ben has helped over 100 local vendors hit the shelves of the Detroit store, and he really knows what needs to be done to become a vendor, so he's going to speak to that tonight. He also enjoys gardening and hiking and camping and spending time with his family, and we really appreciate him being here tonight. We do have a PowerPoint for this segment, so excuse us for a moment as we get that set up.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Whole Foods Market, what we're looking for, how to submit your product at Whole Foods Market, paperwork and info needed, keys to success and success factors, and the local loan program. Mary Ann's going to talk about that, and Carole over here is going to talk about the local produce at our store. So to start, Whole Foods Market is the world's largest natural and organic retailer, and we're the first organic grocer in the United States. We have 12 regions across North America and the UK, and we have 300 plus stores. Just in our region right now, we just opened a new store the other day. We have 43 stores now. And our company has 3 tiers of purchasing. We have global buyers, regional buyers, and also store buyers. The biggest focus for these buyers is purchasing high quality, natural, and organic products. Probably the most important thing for us is looking for high quality products. We're not looking for the most inexpensive product. We're looking for the highest quality to provide to our customers. And also we are built around a set of core values that we follow every day, and we run our business around these core values. So I'm going to talk about them really quickly. So we sell the highest quality natural and organic products available. Again, quality is really important to us. Organics are very important to us. Our consumers really look for organics at all times. We satisfy and delight and nourish our customers. We support team member excellence and happiness. We really believe that having a happy team member is important, so you get a good customer service experience at our stores. We create wealth through profits and growth. We serve and support local global communities. This is what we're going to talk about today. We practice and advance environmental stewardship. We create ongoing win-win partnerships with our suppliers. And we promote health of our stakeholders through healthy eating and education. So those are our core values. So what we look for, what products we're looking for is not only products that are not only delicious, but we're looking for products that are original, unique, or trending. Products that are certified organics, always a plus for us. We're looking for products that fill a void, that is not in the saturated category. I see this all the time where people present me granolas, chips, salsas, jams, things like that. And those are considered a saturated category. just because there are so many local products already in those sets for us that it's hard for us to promote those items within our sets. But things like filling the void, things that can fill the void are like their bakery products, the Ethel's Edibles, which is a gluten-free product I found in Eastern Market, the gluten-free bar, alkaline water from Detroit, slow jams. I did say that the jams are saturated a bit, that category is, but slow jams, they focus on more boutique-y kind of jellies, and you can see in this picture, this is a cherry thyme one, which is delicious. We also asked you to stay competitive with your costs, so then we can keep the retail low, and you can also compete with the big brands out there that are on our shelves also. And definitely we want you to be willing to promote. This is really big, meaning that we want you to come in our stores and actually demo the product, talk about it, talk to our customers. And I see this time and time that the best-selling products in our stores, the best local products, are those that, where people come out and sample every weekend and are aggressive with it. And also, it's really important that you tell a great story. Customers want to know where the products are coming from. They want to hear the story. They want to hear what's behind the product. So to start the local vendor application process, you want to start talking to our buyers. So each store has buyers, and each department has buyers. We're responsible for purchasing and controlling all products on the shelves. Yes, they got to follow some regional and national planograms, but they also have a lot of freedom to bring in local products or make their set their own. They're also responsible for not only promoting the local products, but seeking them out, going to Eastern Market, going to local shows, and bringing them in, seeing what the customer wants, and actually going out there and trying to find it. And that's a big part of my job, too. Even though I'm a store manager, I also spend a lot of time looking out for new products. So the first thing you want to do if you want to bring your product to a Whole Foods Market is introduce yourself to a store buyer. You want to set up a meeting to present your product to a buyer at any Whole Foods Market. We're all open. Some of the best buyers, though, to go see is Lisa Pamid in Rochester. She's very passionate about local products. She brings in a lot of local products for our company. Definitely bring plenty of samples with you, and so we can share with the rest of our team members so we can kind of see if we all like the products. And come prepared with ingredients and lists, ingredient lists and cost info. But the most important is the ingredient list, because that's the first thing our buyers are going to ask is what's in your product, what are the sub ingredients in there, are your herbs and spices irradiated or not. All these things, come prepared and make sure that you know all these things, just so it's an easier decision for our buyers. So, because they have to follow very strict quality standards that we have, and we also have a list of unacceptable ingredients. So if a product has one of these ingredients, we basically cannot sell it in our store. And we always look to help our local producers if they need to find a substitute for certain ingredients. We'll always be there to help too. So if the buyer and the team leader like the product and they want to pursue it, and the product is what we call clean, that is free of any of those unacceptable ingredients, they'll contact a local forager who's based out of Chicago, and her name is Stephanie Garcia. And she basically reviews all products for federal and state compliance, food safety procedures, packaging, pricing, and ingredients. Once reviewed and everything's in order, we will ask you to fill out the first set of paperwork, which is called Packet A. And this is just basic information about your company, what ingredients are in your products, also where it's made, the costs, just to get the process started. Once Packet A is complete, the buyer will submit it to our local forager. If everything's in order, the local forager will say, okay, now the company is ready for Packet B. And Packet B deals with a lot of the insurance information. There's $1 million liability is the minimum. Also, we'll ask you to do electronic funds transfer so we can pay you once you hit our receiving docs. And also the DVO, which is direct vendor ordering. This is where we order products with our scan guns within the store. So we want you set up with that system. It's very important. And once this is all complete, Stephanie gives us the go-ahead to the buyer and says, okay, they're ready to come in the store. Now the next thing we need to do is an NPAF, which is a new product authorization form. And this form basically tells us, the UPC, the units of measure, the cost, the retail, just all the data that we need to plug in to make sure that the product is ringing correctly at our store. And that usually takes about a week or so. But the whole process itself can take a long time. It all depends if we're opening a new store or not. Like for instance, we just opened a store in Hennepin, and the local forager over there is actually trying to bring local products local to that store. So usually they'll be drawn out sometimes, the process. But it could take up to 2 months at times. But the key, I think, really, what I tell vendors is stay on top of the packets, fill them out quickly, send them back to us quickly, and we'll get through the process even quicker. A couple things to note about products and labeling and packaging. Labeling is really important. Products have to have nutrition facts, proper disclaimers on there, units of measure, and expiration dates. A lot of people forget to put the units of measure on the package. We most prefer to have products that have UPCs or barcodes. If you need to purchase barcodes, you can buy them online, new or used. And also, a lot of people make this mistake. You have to have different UPC numbers for different flavors. So say you have a line of jam. Each jam has to have a different UPC. I see people just cross the board, same UPC for 6 different flavors. That's not going to work for us because the way we order our products.
And the way we track our movements.
And the way we track our movements. So that's how we know how much we sell of each flavor. Packaging is really important too. I've seen some great products. I've seen these pastas that come in a big, beautiful bag, but they're very hard to merchandise. They break really easy. So we always look for packaging that's durable, that's easy to merchandise, that also, will keep a good shelf life also. So food, all food products need to be manufactured and inspected in commercial kitchen space or co-packing facility with all appropriate audits and documentations available to review. Unfortunately, we can't just take products that are made in someone's kitchen. We want to be safe and make sure it's made in the commercial building. Sometimes it will require a third-party shelf life analysis. This is usually pretty rare unless you're doing like bulk sauces or bulk deli foods. The claims on the packaging is really important. You may require third-party testing to support the claims, especially if it's gluten-free. Some people will just put gluten-free on the product thinking, well, I'm not using any gluten in my ingredients. But it could be in that commercial kitchen, could have traces of gluten. So we always require testing to be done if you're going to make that claim. And all vendors must have a complete HACCP and recall plan also. So whole body products must follow good manufacturing practices, GMPs. They must follow the shea and INCI labeling. I've seen this before with shea butters and things like that. People will put love in the ingredients. It's like, I love to see that, but it's not really up to code, so I have to ask them to put it off the ingredients. We must be manufactured in a dedicated space not meant for any other purpose. Supplements are not reviewed through the local program and must be submitted to our regional buyers. And this goes for the same thing for the meat and seafood in our stores. We have very high standards with meat and seafood. Our meat follows a 5-step standard, and our seafood sustainability program. So these are not reviewed at the local level. I met a really great company out of Eastern Market. They're called, I believe, the Corridor Sausage Company. I really loved their product. I wanted to bring them in. But unfortunately, the only way we could sell their product if they buy our meat and then make the sausage, just so it meets our standard. And we have these standards in place, so we give transparency to our customers so they know exactly where their meat and seafood comes from. Produce. Carole's going to talk a little bit more about produce, but farms must be visited by a team to assess food safety and post-harvest handling practices, and always be prepared to start the process before you harvest. Non-GMO commitment. This is a really big push right now for us. And this is basically all products will be labeled in our stores by the end of 2018 that if the product has GMOs or not. And you can get verified through the non-GMO project. And it's the only acceptable third party that we're using currently. But by 2018, we basically just, again, want to give transparency to our consumers and make sure they know that if it contains GMOs or not. So keys to success. Once in a Whole Foods market, it's really important to demo often. Some people make the mistake, you got the product on the shelf, you're all happy, but it just sits there and doesn't sell. It's because there's so many different products consumers have to look at. So it's a very good idea to come out demo often. One example is Perkins Pickles. They come out almost weekly in my store, and they're just pickles. They're demoing it constantly, but they sell very well because they're always out there in the public giving them samples. And if you can't come to the store at all times, you can always provide samples to us, and we'll be glad to sample out the product for you. And also, our buyers are very, very busy. So sometimes the smaller orders, they'll miss those. So it's important to stay on top of filling orders and making sure that the buyers are purchasing your product so we won't run out and keep the shelves full. So once your product is really successful in one store, we will ask you, I'm sorry, if a product is successful, we'll ask you to start one store, but if you want to branch out to other stores, we'll usually ask vendors to start at one location before the other store. But once proving success, you can approach other buyers. But we always ask to start at one store because we don't want you to open up in 6 stores and have it be very successful, and then you can't keep up the manufacturing. So we always start one store, and then a second and a third, and then throughout the whole state. Once your product is successful in the whole state, you have the possibility to go regional. And for example, is Intelligentsia coffee out of Chicago. It's very popular in Chicago. It's in every one of our stores in Chicago. But we also sell it in Michigan and consider it a local product. Just because it's something that people want, it sells well, and why not? Also in the packet B that I talked about earlier, we're going to ask you to fill out a local profile, basically a short story about your company, a picture, and of course your name of the product to kind of really showcase it on our shelves that this is a local product and this is something you want to try. These are 2 examples of them. And at my Detroit store, we have a little bit more unique style of ones. This is the good gluten-free bar, which I met Marshall last year at the Lansing local show. Thought he had a great product, a good concept. It was in a nice niche, and it's doing really well in our store. And this is on a top shelf eye level. It's not somewhere in the bottom hidden. And same with the Naturalicious hair care. Gwen approached us in Detroit, had a great product, and definitely would sell really great in Detroit, and it's flying right now, and here's her local profile on the right now. And both of these guys do come out and demo, and that's another reason why they're so successful. Another success story is Mama's Sweet Side. These are sweet potato pies based out of Detroit. They were in the business for about 2 years before they met us. And they were averaging about $12,000 in revenue per year. I think that's what they did in 2012. We helped them launch their product during our grand opening. They came out and demoed quite a bit, and they generated more than $20,000 in just 2 months. And they are expected to do over $110,000 in revenue in 2013. Not saying that we sold that many pies in our store, but we got to help them get the word around about the pies and how great they are, and their online business really took off also. So now I'm going to pass it on to Marianne. She's going to speak a little bit about the local loan program.
So in 2006, Whole Foods Market decided that it would be a good idea to help local vendors grow. And so at that time, we committed as much as $10 million to the program. And the loan amounts are between $100,000 or $1,000 and $100,000, and startups are around $25,000. So the program was launched in 2006. We've done over 160 loans so far, some of them in the Midwest. In Detroit, Avalon Bakery, I think some of you have heard of them, has become a loan recipient, and they have expanded their facilities to allow for production to go smoother and maybe people not have to be up 24 hours a day, things like that. And also now we've got over 9 million loans so far, and we are going to expand and continue the program. There's going to be more funds committed to it, so don't feel like it's too late now. Yeah. So here are some of the Midwest loan recipients. I mentioned Avalon Bakery, but these are all very successful companies who have kept growing with us and growing their market everywhere. So for loan eligibility, expanding or broadening production, examples include things like buying more animals, investing in new equipment or infrastructure, gaining organic certification, which is always a plus. The business is strong and the owner should have a viable business plan. That's certainly a very important factor. And it helps if you have an existing relationship with Whole Foods Market, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker. And you must meet the Whole Foods Market quality standards, which are very strict, and they're strict for a reason, because our customers are counting on us to deliver that to them. So there are contacts here for the Midwest Local Forager, Stephanie Garcia. Ben at the Detroit store is available. We have our grocery buyer in Rochester Hills, which is very active in the local program. Obviously, you can contact in this area our grocery buyers, myself and Susan Bellinson, who is the marketer for the Cranbrook store. We are contacts for Ann Arbor, or if you want to just call the store and ask for the grocery buyer and start that way, you're welcome. And then also Michigan State University Innovation Counselor Micah Laux is available as well. So we're going to, again, hold our questions until the end of the program. And right now I would like to introduce Carole Peterson, who I've been an office mate with this woman. She's like a sister. I love her. She's full of good energy and is dedicated to high quality and fabulous produce. She started out 17 years ago at the Stadium store in Ann Arbor as a produce team member. She quickly became a buyer and then got into the data management for the produce team, and now has moved on to be the Midwest Associate Coordinator for Floral and Produce. So I could say a million things about how good she is, but she's very modest, so I'm just going to say, here's Carole.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, I started with Whole Foods Market 17 years ago, and I've watched the region grow from something like, 8 stores up to 43 now. So it's really been a huge expansion over these past 17 years. But as we've grown, our local program has also grown along with it. Michigan's always had a strong tradition of buying directly from growers. Back when I started, you were allowed to pull up to the store and flip open your trunk and offer some produce, and that was really great. But we can't do that anymore. It ended really not all that long ago, but by now, food safety requirements just completely eliminate that possibility. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about that, since Ben really covered the whole idea of getting new products into the store. With produce, it's a little bit different. But I should ask, are there any growers here? Yeah, I recognize you. Garlic, okay. And just a couple of you? Several growers? Okay, I'm glad you're here. It's a little bit different. Bringing your fresh produce or flowers into the store is different than bringing in a grocery item. First of all, you would come through me because I'm the one who deals with the Michigan stores. And But there are insurance requirements that I can tell you all about. It depends on the commodity that you want to sell to us. For example, cantaloupe runs, has a higher liability than winter squash. And also, there are a limited number of commodities that grow in Michigan. And there are certain growers we've been working with as long as I've been an employee of Whole Foods here in Michigan. One of those is Senzori Farms, which is located in Ceresco, Michigan. It's a certified organic Michigan grower. And they, by now, they sell us a limited number of commodities, but they're theirs. It's hard squash and summer squash, and they've got the big ones, and some tomatoes. But we all know there are many things that you can grow, and I don't have a garlic grower. So there are many possibilities for new products. I'm always looking for fruit, although not apples or peaches, but berries, soft fruit, other persimmons, those kinds of things, quince. One exciting new development was announced last week on September 26th. Whole Foods Market has rating systems for meat and seafood and for whole body. The meat and seafood programs are called the STEP program, and those deal with animal welfare, and they have to do with growing methods. And now the produce departments are going to also have a rating system. So it's going to be a good, better, best system. It's going to be a tremendous, huge undertaking to roll out. And our goal is to get everyone rated, and this includes our brokers and the growers that they might deal with, by a year from now. At least get them onboarded and starting to get themselves rated. I guess I should put it that way. So this is a huge thing having to do with land stewardship, and also with social welfare, and then with growing methods. That's coming down the pike for produce. Trying to think what else I can tell you about bringing on new products with us. If you were growing products and you wanted to get them into the Whole Foods in Michigan, you could contact, as Ben's PowerPoint showed before. In fact, you could go back to those, bringing them in, and I could tell you what's different about produce. That might be easier.
There you go. Contacts.
No, I'll go up. Back into the bringing your product in. Well, while he's looking for that, I can tell you that this week, at this time, the store buyers are buying from 15 different, just direct store, local growers. In addition to the product they bring from our distribution center, which is located in Indiana, and from our Detroit broker, which is located in Detroit. On top of that, they're juggling 15 other vendors for local products. So the people in the stores work hard to bring as much local produce as they can, direct store. I think it's this one,
Okay.
How to submit. Or maybe go up one further.
There you go. This one right here.
Yep. So you can tell that this one's really centered around grocery items. We do have quality standards. Quality is the most important thing in produce too. Has everybody been into a Whole Foods market? So you know what the produce departments look like. They're really meticulously merchandised. They're constantly rotated. They're beautiful to see. So yeah, quality is really important for us too. But our quality standards, our list of quality standards are available through me. There's no one Bible of quality standards for produce. It has to do with USDA standards. We expect to receive everything at our dock at a certain temperature, and it's basic USDA standards for produce applied to Whole Foods as well. So a good thing to do if you're interested in selling to Whole Foods is contact the store produce team leader, and that person can put you in touch with me, and then we can talk about how we're going to get your product into our stores. Has everybody heard of Sealy Organic Greens? Okay, that one took a whole year. But Sealy worked on it and got their food safety requirements together because we require something special for cut greens, a packaged, ready-to-eat product. There's a higher level of insurance required for that sort of a thing, HACCP assurances, food safety assurances. Sealy took care of that, and now they've been selling just to 2 locations for now, but we'll expand to the other 4 locations next year when we figure out logistics. Okay. And the way they got in, I think, was through you. They contacted you,
I think so.
and then I took it from there. But it took a whole year to get this one together, and thank goodness Sealy was willing to go ahead and take care of the insurance and HACCP part. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to carry them at Whole Foods. That's a fact. So it says products are reviewed for federal and state compliance, food safety. Yes, that's all true. And as far as the supplier application, I generally give it to people right up front and say, please read through this giant document and see where you fit and see if you feel comfortable with having electronic fund transfer and getting insurance to sell us your stuff. And can you really meet the standards that are required to deliver to our docks at temperature? Can you do all that? Now do you want to go forward with us? So that's the way I attack it for Michigan. Right, so the next one. Complete, reviewed. We'll give you packet B. Mine's just all one thing. I work with a woman in Indiana, and I guess I should back up and say, too, that there are 3 tiers of purchasing for Whole Foods produce. One is global. So, we don't carry everything from Michigan. Of course, we carry it from all over the world. There's a group of global buyers, and they're housed in Watsonville, California, and in Austin, Texas. And they're the ones dealing with the big international growers and some of the big organic growers around the country. Our distribution center is located in Munster, Indiana, right down on the bottom under Chicago. And they work with the global office to bring in product to that distribution hub and send it out all the way around the Midwest region. They also work with local growers, local for them. So they're pulling from Illinois growers, it's not very many commodities, Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. They're pulling from all over within the region and making regional purchases. And then there's the store level, and that's me, buying for the 5 stores here. 6. Sorry, Ben. It's a very important store, too. Okay, so keeping going. Sorry if I'm jumping around, folks. Yeah, labeling. It's produce, so it's great if you can get a PLU onto your, a price lookup code onto your product. That's really helpful, but it's certainly not essential. What is essential for produce is if it's certified organic, you need to be able to prove that it's certified organic by showing your organic certification up to date. And then, when you ship your product to our stores, you need to have that label on the product that states that it's certified organic, and the name of your farm and the location. As for the product itself, this Sealy one is a good example because it's packaged. They did buy their own proprietary UPC code. They did that. It was a good move. Their label's perfect, says where it's from, says it's certified organic. They became certified organic. And they're all set to go. That's good. They have 4 different SKUs, and they have 4 different UPC codes. Perfect. But for, hard squash from a local grower, I'm not going to ask you to put a PLU onto all that product. Some growers do, but that's not something I would require. Although I will say that for example, the bunching greens that we get from the arboreals out in Bangor, Michigan, by now those folks have been working with us for at least 10 years, and they do buy tags. They twist around each one. So it really depends on the grower's level of their ability to get that job done. But we can help in the store too, as long as we know that it's certified organic. We're certified organic too, and we can put tags on it too. It's not our preference, but we can do it. Okay, keep going. All right, now we're getting into food safety, and like I said, everything's going to change over this year. Whole Foods never required GAP certification, but it's coming. Now we're going to require that. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Those who are certified organic are already using good agricultural practices. They already have to trace each lot, each field, and you know they have to be able to say with each box where it came from. But that's going to be changing now. Whole Foods is going to require that for everybody. And Whole Foods is actually a little bit behind on this one. Other big, well, we're not that big, but other grocery store chains have already required that for years. So we're changing in that way. What else have I got there? Oh, and I should say, I do make visits to farms to talk about food safety and look at how, what post-harvest handling procedures are in use. Non-GMO commitment. Again, if something's certified organic, they can't use GMO seed to begin with. But getting into areas of GMO, tracking it from other growers, if you're buying from a third party, becomes more difficult. All of that has to change over this next year. We have to be able to trace it back for everything that we purchase. Keys to success. Oh yeah, demo often. Anytime anyone can back up their product by coming in, and this is a hard one for growers, because the very time that you would be most effective at demoing is the time that you should be harvesting. So this is a tough one, but we do have some good examples of successful demo people in our department too. One that I can think of recently is it's a salad dressing, and a perishable olive oil based salad dressing called Tessemae's. With a group, they have their own group of demo staff that just blanket the region and demo constantly, and it's really, really worked well for them and for us, and we appreciate it. I wish the Seelys could come in, but again, they're busy working, so it's hard for them to come in. So branching out to other stores, I'll stick with the Seely example. As I said, we're buying a pretty limited commodity from one grower and going to only 2 stores, and that's okay with us. We can start small. Next year, we'll take Seely to the other 6 or the other 4 stores, and it just depends on a way to get it there. Right now, I just don't have a good way, and it's fine for them to start with 2 and make sure they feel comfortable. Success stories, I have many. That a lot of our growers we've been working with for so many years, and I'm familiar with growers across the region because in my data position, part of my job was to onboard people, get all their paperwork in, all their banking information. So the growers that we work with up in Wisconsin, Minnesota, down in Missouri, I know them too. I've been working with them for years, and in Ontario, which is part of my my area. If you need to contact me, I don't have a business card today. I'm sorry, everybody, but you can always get my contact information from any store. I'm a produce associate coordinator. I'm a floral and produce associate coordinator, and my name is Carole Peterson.
So, Tony Menyhart was raised in a grocery store in South Bend, Indiana. He started baking bread when he was a 4-H'er and developed his skills as a cook all the way through now, I would suppose. Before starting Easy Artisan, Tony's business life included a career in banking and establishing several printing companies. Tony's inspiration for Easy Artisan was the ancient bread making style revived as the artisan method. It relies only on the natural power of yeast, not elaborate kneading and proofing, to create incredible flavor. 1 minute, 1 bowl was the concept for a product that would turn anyone into a master bread maker. So Tony has sold at farmers markets. I witnessed him demoing at the Homegrown Festival, and believe me, he can sell. He's great. And demoing has been a huge part of his success at Whole Foods Market. He also has a partner, Sally Gralla, who's... Sally's here? Where are you, Sally? Ah, there she is. So I've met both of them, but I didn't see her. So anyway, here's Tony.
How long we got? 1 minute, 2 minutes? Okay. Well, you've already had a great show from the Whole Foods staff. We'll show the other side a little bit. One thing, congratulations on coming out tonight to find out about Whole Foods, because they're delightful people to work with, really. And one of the great things is I got an email today that says we're going to put a few $100s in your bank account tomorrow. That EDP system is really nice to have. But we were fortunate to get in through the new store opening in South Bend. That's my hometown. But we don't make Whole Foods your first customer. I sold at farm markets for a year to develop the product. Still occasionally do that when I'm trying out something new. I think it's a real good way to test what you're doing. But we also then, after I went retail, we went about 15 months before approaching Whole Foods and got into about 100 stores first. I don't want to make my first big mistake on Whole Foods. And that's it. I mean, you're going to make a mistake somewhere, and you're going to get better as you go. So refine your product, watch your costs a lot. A lot of people go, well, I can sell that $9 jar jam, but a dime of cost going in might be 50 cents coming out the other end. So you have to really make a value product. So these are our bags of bread mix and pizza mix. We developed them just first because I like to eat good bread. Okay. And I love whole grains and wheats, which is a little bit counter to the gluten-free trend. There might be somebody gluten-free out there, but I eat whole grains and wheats all the time. So this is, the good gluten is in here, is what we say, okay? But we have a flashy package, which is noticeable on the shelf, but it's really to protect the whole grains, so there's no transfer of light, moisture, or oxygen in and out of the package, because we want to have a fresh product all the time. We have a very scalable product, because I do work through a Michigan Department of Agriculture co-packer to do this, but I get in there every time we're making it too and make sure we have a really good product. So to echo some of the things they said, I don't want to say what they said, but demoing is really good. I enjoy it a lot. Make sure they know who you are. I have a lot of nice clothes, except no one ever sees me in anything but a yellow shirt with a Easy Artisan logo on it. Not only can you see these are friendly people that came out here tonight, but the rest of the staff is really important to you. Anybody that's walking by that's got a Whole Foods shirt on, I'm saying, hey, try one of these. All you want when you work here. Because you notice a difference. I study grocery stores now. I grew up in one. I'm sort of a junkie on them. When I'm in a store, if I go in an ordinary store and I say, hey, where's the Easy Artisan bread mix? They'll say, well, it's at the end of aisle 3 or maybe 4 or I don't know. So you go and you can't find it. But at Whole Foods, the person will take you and say, come here, I'll show it. And if they know you've got a good product, there might be 2 others on the shelf like it, but they might say, I like this one. So make friends with that staff. Now, demoing is not easy work, and also it's expensive. I lose money every time I demo. You got to think of that. Don't just say, well, I'm going to blanket it. You got to have some pockets, because you have to pay somebody to do it. If you're doing it yourself, you can count it free. So, but make sure that you have a plan on that, and you know that it's going to cost you money, and don't be discouraged with that. And by the way, if any of you are in startups and are really good at demoing and want to make some money to finance your startup, ask me, and maybe I'll get you some work in a Whole Foods doing it for me, because I can't be everywhere. Okay, so one last thing here is make sure you fit in with all those Whole Foods guidelines and what they're looking for. We have a value product. I think you're going to see Whole Foods emphasizing that more as they go. $3.99 makes 4 pizzas, 10-inch pizzas. People go, oh, sometimes I get, why don't you charge more? So it's value. It's a non-GMO product. Everything's going to have to go non-GMO. We're just working with a non-GMO project. And it's just wholesome, good food. So if you follow their guidelines, their rules, I think you can succeed. But don't try to invent new ones. Good enough?
So Wolverine State Brewing Company was founded in 2006 as a contract brewing company, which means it rented excess capacity at a larger brewing company to craft one product, premium lager. In 2008, E.T. Crowe became part owner and was named marketing and sales director. She has a degree in English Lit from the University of Louisville and has spent her entire career working in sales, marketing, public relations, fundraising, including a stint as a very successful real estate agent in Ann Arbor with Reinhardt Realtors. E.T. is also gaining notoriety as an author, and her latest book will be celebrated at Barnes & Noble with book signing on November 16th. So here's E.T.
Thanks, Marianne. And I can speak for this guy, this bread is good. I don't like to bake or cook or nothing, and this stuff is good. It's easy to make. It really does. And it's all gluten not free, okay, just saying that now. Gluten full is what this is. When I joined the company in 2008, there was one product. There were maybe 2 stores that the product was sold through. One of the first things I did right away was to start going out and meeting people. But I also learned a couple of really key, crucial things that I tell, and I've said this to a lot of groups. You need several things going for you before you even think about putting your product on store shelves. First, the product itself. Make sure that it is the best, absolute best quality product that you can absolutely make. And if it's not you making it, like me, I don't brew. I pay a guy, okay? But he is the best brewer, and he makes the best product possible. He is adamant about quality, as we all are. So product first. Packaging is crucial. Packaging/branding. I walked into a company with a name that was pretty cool for a town called Ann Arbor, right? We had the Wolverine State Brewing Company name already, so I could work with that. But we crafted this packaging together. It needs to catch the eye. It needs to pop, as they say. Product, packaging needs to pop. You need to create a platform. And the only way you can do that is to get out in front of people and make them eat/drink or partake of, wash their hair, wash their bodies, whatever they're doing, of your product. You got to get out in front of people. Some people don't like to do that. No, I just want to make it. No, you got to get out in front of people. I'm lucky in that our platform was automatic. We have a bar. I have a beer bar. That was part of our business plan. The tap room on West Stadium is attached to the brewery and is a line item on my marketing budget, nothing more. It's a way for you to come and try my product so that when you go to Whole Foods, and in my case, Meijer, Kroger, or Bush's, you're going to want it and you're going to get it. You got to create some buzz about your product by using your platform to get it in front of people who will talk about it and go to the Mariannes of the world, or in my case, the Ryans. Ryan is my buyer at Whole Foods Washtenaw. Love that guy. 2019 West Stadium. I can tell you more about it later. It's a busy place. So that way you can create the buzz and you get it in front of the people who then make it a pull. This is grocery or retail jargon. At first, you're pushing your product out onto the shelves. You're pushing it onto the Whole Foods. You're pushing it at Bush's. You're pushing it wherever you're pushing it. Please take my product. After a while, once you've created the buzz with your platform, it becomes a pull, and that's your goal. You want customers to be buying your product, supporting your product, and pulling it off the shelves so that the grocery stores just keep ordering it. That's the goal. But part of that is a lot of what has been talked about here. Your platform never stops. You're always up on your platform. You're using social networking. You're Facebooking. You're tweeting. Sorry, got to do it. And it's not so much Facebooking and tweeting with your friends and your family. You're getting your product in front of influencers, people who will buy. Get in groups. Get in jam groups. Get in produce groups. Get in shampoo groups. Get in supplement groups. And work your networks. That's crucial. And I'm not, obviously, an expert on a whole lot of this. But when I was asked to join this company, I didn't know a whole lot about beer. And I told them that. I said, look, I drink wine. I like bourbon. I'm from Kentucky. And, beer is, We don't worry about that. They said, you have what we need, which is the marketing expertise. So if you can, Find someone who's good at that. I understand that sometimes all you can do is get your kid to set up your website for you because that's all you can afford. But one of the things you want to do is to, if you get on Facebook and you get on Twitter, and especially if you claim that you're a blogger, do it. Don't throw a blog up on the internet and leave it alone. No one will care, and people will not respect you because they won't take you seriously. That's all I got. And beer. Which we couldn't serve, even though we tried.
Thank you, E.T. Our final speaker tonight has a huge history in the food business, and he's kind of gone from one end and now he's back at the other. Well, sort of in the middle. But Tim Redmond once said, "My home is my community," and he's had a 45-year career pioneering natural and organic foods. His community has been both world and home, and his work took him around the globe and home again. Tim was born in a Detroit suburb. As a U of M student, he was one of a handful of members in Ann Arbor's first natural food co-op. Tim and a business partner incorporated the co-op in 1968 and founded Eden Foods Incorporated. Tim went through a lot of steps with Eden Foods. He's run a grocery and deli and restaurant. The business expanded into wholesale and a whole bunch of distribution. He later sold those retail businesses and moved on to help American Soy Products in a strategic joint venture between Eden and 3 Japanese companies, and he became the executive vice president. American Soy was America's first dedicated soy milk plant, where Tim and his team pioneered soy milk into mainstream markets and several non-dairy beverages, as well as other unique products like Vroot and Soy Fusion. Tim eventually left this and he started some consulting work. He eventually began in 2005 with an industry colleague, Blue Horizon Organic Seafood Company, which was another mission-driven business with the aim to develop markets for organic aquaculture production as well as certified sustainability managed wild fishery catch, marketing frozen entrees and appetizers nationally. This company was acquired by Ian's in 2010, and Tim came home. He now has transformed part of his homestead into Skinny Farm of Scio, which supplies 25 member organic vegetable NSA, which is neighborhood supported agriculture. Also growing garlic and veggies for local chefs and retailers, and hops for local brewers. Tim is an owner-operator of Eat Local, Eat Natural, a regional distributor of meats and dairy products produced locally on small, sustainably managed family agricultural property. So, wow. We're so lucky to have Tim here. Let's stop introducing him and let him talk for a few minutes.
Thanks, and I guess that all goes to say I'm old. I've got some skin left on my shins, but not that much. So I started out way back there in the late '60s with organic food, and there was a little market here in the country back then, and it's grown just hugely, and Whole Foods has been an important part of that growth of the organic food market. Not all of you here are interested in organic foods. That's not where everybody is. It's one major strong trend. Another thing I've been doing, I just want to put in a plug for the Washtenaw Food Policy Council. I've been chairing that for the past, been a year, I think, and I just gave that chair position over to Nicole Chardoul. But the Washtenaw Food Policy Council is a volunteer group here in the county, supported by the county government, and it's here to support food producers and food marketers like you guys. And you know, the strong trend in food marketing, I think, at least in a small way, is from local small food producers. It's just a happening thing. We see in Eat Local, Eat Natural, our distribution company, we see the interest from both chefs and store buyers in local foods just growing strongly. So you guys are in the right place at the right time. I don't want to try to say too much here. There's certainly a lot that can be said about selling in the large chains. I've done a lot of it, and you can waste a lot of money and a lot of time, and spin your wheels quite a bit by doing it. But one of the main things is y'all need to know why you want to. I mean, I think you guys are here because you're thinking about selling your product or making a product and getting it into stores and, you know, doing that thing, which is great. And people need food, and they need good food from good producers, from good farms, from good soil that support good soil and keep the water and the air good and clean. So that's a great thing. But you gotta kind of set some goals for yourself. Do you want to be a national supplier, just for Whole Foods? Do you want to be in 10,000 supermarkets around the country? Do you want to be in 200 local stores? And it's got to do with how much money you want to make, or how famous you want to be, or several other things. But you need to get an idea of how far out you want to go. Because if you're satisfied with being local, which I think is a good idea, the national thing isn't all it's cracked up to be. You just find yourself in a lot of places and that you may not want to be after a while. So I'm kind of plugging the idea of selling locally and being satisfied with being a regional producer, because you can see and you can cover that territory yourself personally to some degree. You can't be everywhere in the country. Then you need to start farming out your selling and all of your promotion and so on and so forth to a lot of other people. And then you're managing people. You're just, you're in an office making phone calls and flying around the country and doing all that stuff, which is attractive and fun in a certain way, but it gets old fast and it gets very tiring. And you lose hair. I haven't lost that much, but it's getting really thin back there. All right, so you got to kind of set some realistic goals and vision for yourself and who you want to be in the next 5 and 10 years and what kind of lifestyle you want to support. That's important. So that regional or national thing is key. And so when you come up with a product, and I haven't had any, well, I did. I had Tony's before we started here, and he makes a mix that makes a good bread, but I have had this beer, and this is a good one. I know these products are good. I'm looking at drinking some afterward. You need to make a product, good product, as Tony said. Or was that you that said that? But you got to make a good product, and you got to know what it is. You got to be, you have to have some passion for it. That's said often, but you also need to know who's going to buy this product, and be very realistic about that, because that determines where you go to sell it. You don't go to Kroger to sell, a lot of organic foods. Not that they don't sell organic foods, but it's a different sort of marketing system. And, you can get into, 50 stores real quick and spend a lot of money getting in there and trying to make product move, and it just won't, because they don't have the right kind of buyers for your type of product. Do you know what I mean by that? That's a key thing. I've been involved with companies, and we've wasted a lot of money, going in 200 supermarkets down in Mississippi with a certain chain that just sits on the shelf no matter what we do, no matter how much support we try to give it. So it's really important to understand who's going to buy your product and what kind of retail venues attract the people that are going to come in and buy it. So be careful about that. You know, I can go on and on here, and I don't want to talk too long. We've had a pretty good presentation here. You know, distribution or direct. Once you get into a certain level of sales, you've got to decide whether or not you're going to be satisfied with delivering directly to those stores, those, you know, maybe 25 or 50 stores, whatever it is. Or you want to go beyond that. And if you, at some point, you're going to need distribution in one way or another. Tony, you just went to distribution recently, right?
And it's a difficult step.
And
Make sure you price your product from the start so that you know you can pay a distributor, because that can be a real hurdle.
it certainly can. So if you've got a $10 retail product, you know, the distributor is going to sell to that retailer for, you know, $6 or $6.50. And the distributor is going to need a 30% margin out of that $6.50, let's say. And these margins are different for different categories within the stores. Then you've got to have your 50% margin in order to do your marketing. That's something I'd caution you. Make sure you have enough margin in your product, you know, between your cost of producing that product and getting it in that case and ready to ship to whoever it is. Make sure you got enough margin to support all the marketing and sales that you're going to have to do. There's a lot to that and a lot of different layers of costs that you're going to need to support. But as a general rule, I'd say you need to be able to produce a product for about half of what you're going to be selling it for. 50% gross profit margin is generally adequate to do the kind of marketing and sales that you need to do, assuming that you're not going to be the person out there doing all the demoing. You're going to have to hire it. You're going to have to pay for advertising, store ads, and so on and so forth, broker margins. There's a saying about product marketing that is make a product that is an inch wide and goes a mile deep. And if you get the drift on that, the idea is create your brand that is narrow. You know, make sure you've got a specific niche for it, and you're filling a need, and it's very well targeted to the audience that you think you're going to try to market to. But you want it to be really deep. You want to have just, you know, all of your heart behind that, and you want to, you know, you just need depth to your brand. You don't need a lot of breadth, but you need a lot of depth, because with a lot of depth, you can just continue expanding that brand a lot more easily than you can if you have a shallow brand and a shallow product. So yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is make sure as you think about expanding that you have the capability. I think Tony mentioned that you gotta be careful about how many stores you go to, how quickly. Just make sure you have the capability to support the kind of expansion that you want to do, and you know, take it slow. Don't try to rush into a whole bunch of stores quickly. Just make your success, learn how to do it, understand what has to be done, keep in touch with the retail side, know where your product is as much as you can at all times, and how much it's turning on the shelf, and you know, what the retail people are doing to support it, and what you need to do to keep it on there. getting it on the shelf is just a little bit of the trick to being successful with a product. There's so much behind that and supporting it once it's on the shelf and getting consumers to see it and pick it up and buy it and then buy it again. Even that first time is not that hard, particularly if you're in the store doing a demo. Getting them to come back and buy it again with all the other products there and all the other information coming at consumers, because everybody else is trying to market their product too, is a trick. So I'll shut up and everybody, it's Q&A time, I think.
I would like to thank Rose Lee, who's going to be asking this question. She has the Ageless Pantry teas, and she brought some to share with us tonight, and I know some of you have enjoyed it, so thank you, Rose.
Thank you. My question is, I was afraid I might be wearing people out with my demoing. How often should I be demoing? Like, I just got the Whole Foods in Detroit, and I've been going either every other month, but I think I'm going to do maybe once a month at least, now that I hear about this. Is that too much, too little?
No, it's not too much at all. Like I said, the Perkins pickles, they come out sometimes twice a week.
Wow.
They're very aggressive, but it's paid off for them quite a bit in the long run. You know, so many people, we have about 2,500 people that come in our stores every day, just the Detroit store, that is. So more you're out there, more you're sampling, you can spread your product out a little more, and the knowledge of your product. So, I mean, at first it might seem kind of like a little bit too much, but, you know, over time it will really pay off, and then you don't have to sample as much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. I won't increase my demo.
Yep.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Can I add something on the demoing again? I believe every speaker's mentioned doing demos, and one thing I find is there aren't enough joint demos out there. I mean, sometimes there's complementary products. You might be sitting next to somebody that could, sell a beer with a pizza. But for instance, and it helps make friends at Whole Foods too. Because we're a value product at the $3.99, I push using the 365 brand they have there. Now, I want to actually make this a little more codified in the stores, but when I go in, like Jason in South Bend, I've sold a couple cases of their pesto in one day because I'm putting my pizza dip, my pizza flatbread into their pesto. Well, sure, they're glad to see me come, aren't they? And that association. So maybe we can all, in some ways, save a little bit of money by linking up with someone and saying, I'll do something for you, you do something for me.
I, of course, am not allowed to do demos, as you can see, because these are not opened and you're not sharing them right now. Obviously, liquor laws are very strict in the state of Michigan. However, what I would suggest you think about is that the Michigan Brewers Guild is very, very strong, very, very robust. The craft beer scene in Michigan is huge. There are lots of places you could take your product if you would but just get in contact with the Michigan Brewers Guild. There are 5 huge beer festivals all over the state. The next one coming up is in Detroit. It's too late to get into that one. However, if you contact those guys, they're happy to talk to you about you having a booth. Obviously, you're going to have to pay for this. You're going to have to provide people there. But just remember, it's your platform. And if you don't have a bar, like I do, to pull people in, to give them your product, you got to create your own platform. Stupid beers are in the way.
Here's what I can add to that is that if you become successful and you, build your company to $3 or $4 million of sales in a year, and you're in a whole bunch of stores, and you're hiring demo people to do your demos instead of doing them yourself, you cannot ever lose touch with who your customer is, and you do that by getting in a store. No matter how big you get, you got to just keep going back to the stores, getting in front of the customers, handing them your product, and understanding how they feel about it and how they use it, and so on and so forth. Don't lose touch with customers. Don't get so busy you get holed up in your office making phone calls and da-da-da. That's all.
I have one more too. to go with it too. And it's just that, you know, touching onto that, people really love to know where their produce comes from. So if there's any chance that a grower can come in and talk to people about their product and why they grow and what they grow, it's terrific. But as I mentioned, usually growers are growing when their product is available or harvesting it. So another thing you can do is be ready to offer promos on items so that the store itself can do the demoing. That's another part of it. And then we'll demo the product for you and push it and sell lots for you.
Okay, I had a question. You were talking about the depth of a product. Could you be more specific, like what qualities give a product its depth? What contributes to a product having depth?
Well, I think for Carole, in her department, it would be, let's say it's apples, you know, and my apples I have a certain type of apple, and it's a heritage variety perhaps, and the history of this variety is such and such, and it has these qualities, and it's grown with these methods, you know, specifically, and you know, whatever else, and we pack it this way, we handle it this way, consumers want to know where products come from and how they're made, and the wording artisanal product is a good way to put it, you know, that there's artisanship in product making, and not just one-off or me too, or, you know, I'm doing this to get rich now, or whatever that might be. But, you know, consumers want to know that the products they're eating have authenticity, and they want to know something about where the food comes from and who makes it and why and how. And that's what depth is, all those things.
Hi, I'm Christine with Growing Hope, and I run the farmers markets. I'm the manager of 4 farmers markets. So my question is to Ben. It sounds like you go out to various markets to get your local products, and this is being part of this event is one way that I'd like to help my vendors to succeed a little bit more in their products. Some, of course, do very well at the market and want to stay at the market, but some of them I think would like to see more success. So how would I go about inviting you to the markets, or do you just go out to the markets that you're interested in, or how does that work exactly?
Well, since we were opening the Detroit store, my main focus was Eastern Market. We were really looking for local Detroit products. That was our big thing. But I'd say just invite us out and we'll come. A lot of times at points, I didn't know which markets to go to. I didn't know there were so many markets out there also. Well, once I started going to one and kind of discovering another. But I'd say just invite us out, and we can get a group of buyers, come out and visit your market and talk to the people who are selling products there. It's not a problem for us.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my question is about going to non-GMO types of products. My product uses a little bit of oil, and to use the little bit of oil, I saw a list on your website about canolas and the soybean oils and corn oils, those typically having GMOs in them. Mm-hmm. So what recommendations do you have for somebody like me who uses a little bit of oil in baking? What is oil like sunflower oils or safflower oils? Are those considered non-GMOs, or what?
It's
could
mainly
you use in place that would be something that didn't have such flavor like olive oil or coconut?
Yeah, I mean, some oils definitely are heavier non-GMOs, especially soy-based, or there's just a lot of crops that have more GMOs than others, such as beets. It's almost 95% of beets grown in the United States has GMOs in it. So I'd go to those crops that are not typically high in GMO and maybe find an oil that is itself certified non-GMO.
Okay. So would it be
certain
okay to
ends.
use like a non something?
And the
that
biggest
says
point,
it?
which Carole mentioned just now, is if you buy organic, you're pretty much guaranteed not to have. You are guaranteed not to have
Okay.
GMOs in your product. So I would just, like Carole said, go for a source that is organic,
Okay.
and then you just know.
Okay. So I have a second question. I was looking at your list of things that you don't want as an ingredient, and there's a couple of things as far as the dried fruits that I use. They weren't on your list, but I wasn't sure if that would be considered like a preservative or something that you wouldn't want to have as part of the ingredients in a product. One of them was citric acid. That's okay? Okay.
I
And then the
believe
other
it
was
is.
invert syrup.
That I'm not sure of. That I'd have to look up for you.
That was in one of the dried fruits that I use in the product that I'm making right now. So I just wanted to know about those two because I hadn't heard of what they are. And then they
Okay.
had vegetable extract and aroma.
Okay, and that's the aroma part. We're going to wonder what that is.
Yeah, I'm not
That's gonna
sure
be our
myself
biggest
what
question.
that is. I'd have to contact the company.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one great thing to do is contact the company that you're getting it from and actually ask for more information.
Okay.
And we can always, if you really can't find a substitute for something, you can always ask us. And we work alongside Michigan State University, who helps out local producers find alternatives for that too.
Okay.
So I can, if you want to email me, I can definitely find some contacts for you or find some information for you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hi. So, a lot of questions I could ask. We have raw fruit and nut bars that we sell, and mostly we've been focusing at the local farmers markets for the past few years, and we have them at the food co-op. And, they're definitely like a, sort of a high price point, really high quality. We put a lot of energy into sourcing the ingredients. And some people say, we wholesale them for like $3 to the food co-op. And so they turn around and sell them for $4.50. And some people are like, wow, I love your bars. They get them for $4.50 every time. And some people are like, wow, that's a lot to ask for a little fruit bar. And one thing we've been thinking about is like, if we made them a little smaller, and drop the price, but then, you're spending more on packaging, and somebody might say $4.50 and I get this nice big bar that's like a full meal, or like I can eat half of it in the morning and eat the rest of it later, whereas they might say $3 and that's it, So I'm wondering, how do you, portion sizes, we're working on the packaging with Michigan State, so this is going to be something that's kind of, we should make a decision on pretty soon, but how do you kind of play around with those sort of aspects of product design?
Probably we have a raw set even at our Detroit store, even though it's a smaller store. But a lot of those products are much pricier than others. Like, for instance, I think we have a little chocolate bar that's $9.99, and the thing looks tiny. But it's a raw cacao, and it sells. It flies for us.
We have a little candy bar this big. That's
Yes.
$9.99.
Yes. Yes. And even the similar bars I see for $3.99, $6.99, and I would say whatever you think is a good size for someone to consume, and try to price it at that point without sacrificing too much money in packaging. So you kind of have to. I almost look at your competitors and what else is out there and see what sizes they're doing. But I wouldn't go so small that a consumer is gonna be like, come on, I know this is $2.50, but it's like a bite.
Right,
So,
exactly.
And for instance, in like the beer companies, I see a lot of people going from a 6-pack to a 4-pack because they have a premium beer and people don't want to spend $14.99. So they'll move to a 4-pack and it's $9.99, so it's a little more attractive to some consumers. I don't know if that's what you want to say.
No, but my 4-pack is $20. But it's bourbon barrel aged, so it's okay. No, I was just going to say, this is sort of just marketing 101 kind of research. I mean, really, honest to God, you can't create price points in a vacuum. That's a mistake. You need to understand exactly what all of the super high quality fruit and nut bars all around you that are going to be surrounding your product on the shelf, what do they charge? What are they getting away with?
Right.
You have to know that.
True, but do you remember when kombucha, the various kombucha beverages came out? There was nobody. What do they retail now for?
$3.99.
$3.99.
GT's one. The
Yeah, there was nobody retailing, you know, one of these for $3.99 at that time, but they did, you know, because there was depth to the product, right? And it was worth it. So people pay it.
And it would be hard to find anybody who actually has a product very similar to ours. Most of the fruit and nut bars are like totally dehydrated or cooked or have like, you know, oatmeal type things in them. I mean, these are basically, you know, dates soaked in sprouted nuts, fruits, herbs.
So
and
don't
spices.
be afraid to charge what you think your product is worth.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to buy you a beer on that one. I'm gonna
The retailer would rather sell a product for $10 than a product for $2, as a matter of fact. Isn't that right?
not the produce retailer. No,
As long as it sells, yeah, you would.
I suppose. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we had to face this problem because, fortunately, in Whole Foods, there's no competitors to our product because all the commercial brands have prohibited ingredients. You know, lard's not on their list of good foods. But in the regular grocery stores, we got Jiffy at 99 or Betty Crocker at $1.19, and then ours is $3.99. Well, that was something that worried me a lot. I worked hard, and in fact, I worked with Michigan State on looking for a package where we could sell half of this size for $1.99 and get into that price point. But the packaging is expensive. It doesn't get cheaper when it gets a little smaller. And so we decided that we just have to emphasize the value that's in the $3.99 package. And it is 3 times the size of Betty's selling for $1.29 with junk ingredients. So it's not outrageous if I can get that across. So work on your sales skills as far as showing them the value in what you have. And you just did make a word of that to Tim. You know your value proposition.
Yes.
So just work on getting it good.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my question is for Ben. I want to clarify on flowers. Am I correct in saying that you expect or want non-bromated flowers?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you all again for being here this evening. We really are excited that this is being so well attended. And again, thank our panel for being here. Thank you all for spending your time with us tonight. Thank Corner Brewery, who has been a sponsor, People's Food Co-op, Washtenaw County Office of Community and Economic Development, and Whole Foods Market. And thank you all for being here. Have a great night.